guys, this is Bobby with Bobby Stamps, and I have a different card I'm going to share with you guys today. This card I have left laying on my workstation for probably a month because it's one of those cards. When I very first started, I posted a card that I was very unsure of what people's reaction would be, and it ended up being one of my favorite, most liked cards that I've ever made. And this card falls into that category where I'm not really sure how people are going to react to it. So I've debated on doing the video or not doing the video and showing it. And so I just decided I'm going to put it out there and we'll just see what happens. I know it's not going to appeal to everybody. It may not even appeal to anyone, but I'm still going to show it anyway. So here it is. It's using the Bird Ballad DSP and that suite and the stamp set, and I've done some embossing, and it's kind of a busy card, but I also like the grunginess. You guys know that I love the grunge. I love to do the sponging around the edges and things like that. So I'm gonna quit gabbing and I will show you how I made this card, and you can leave a comment below to let me know if you like it or not. If you haven't already, please subscribe to my channel, hit the little bell notification so every time I post a video you'll get notified, and if you like it, hit the like button, and I hope that you do like it. So I'm using a lot of products. This is probably going to be a little bit longer of a video. I'll try not to talk much and get it done for you guys, but like I just said, I'm using the Free as a Bird stamp set and the Butterfly Gala stamp set to create the card. So I'm also using my Versamark ink pad and copper embossing powder. You're going to need your heat tool. I'm using Pool Party ink, and I'm also using soft suede ink, and then I'm going to use my sponge to ink around the edges. I'm going to use Old Olive, I believe this is. Like I said, I made this a very long time ago. Old Olive Light and Dark Stampin' Blends. And I know that we have the Petal Pink Stampin' Blends, but it was too light for what I liked, so I'm going to use Flirty Flamingo instead, the light and dark. But I think I only used the light. I'm not sure. We'll see when we get going. And then I'm also going to use the light and dark Pool Party. And then again, I didn't want to use the soft suede. I wanted to use, it was too dark, so I'm going to use the Crumb Cake Light and Dark Stampin' Blends. And then I'm also using from the Bird Ballad suite, the Bird Ballad trinkets, and then the Very Vanilla Lace Trim, I think is the name of this. Let me see, where's the name of it? Scalloped Lace Trim, right there it is. So we're going to use just a little bit of that. And then I'm also going to use the Braided Linen Trim, and we're just going to pull that apart. That is how I created this little stuff right here. Kind of reminded me of like the bird's nest, like the straw from the bird's nest. So my card base is soft suede. I'm just gonna score that, and I'm just gonna put this off to the side for right now. And then I used Petal Pink, and I embossed that using the Subtle Dynamic Textured Impressions embossing folder. That's a mouthful. And then I used a piece of Very Vanilla, and I die cut that out. That's what we're going to stamp the image on with the stitched nested labels. And I believe it's the biggest one on this side. So of the smaller ones, it's the biggest one. Put that out of the way, and then I'm using the Petal Pink vellum paper. I have a strip of Very Vanilla that we're going to stamp our sentiment on. I have a piece of the Bird Ballad DSP, and I'm just going to rip that here in a minute. So let's just go ahead and I will start. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to open up soft suede, and I'm just going to grab that piece of Petal Pink, and I'm just going to ink around the edges on that. And I am even going up on top. I don't care if I'm getting up in here. I actually want to get up in that area. So I'm kind of actually on purpose just going on top of that because I like that grungy framing that it does. So you can go light, you can go dark, you can go heavy, however you guys want to do it. Okay, So I'm just going to put that out of the way for right now. The next thing I'm going to do is take the DSP paper and I'm just going to start ripping it. And there's just no rhyme or reason. I'm just going to go all the way around it. And we might have to go in if I don't get it, or it's going to fit on the card base. I just kind of cut it a little bit wider because I wanted to make sure that I was going to have enough. So let's just toss that away. And then we'll bring in this piece and see. So I'm going to have to go a little bit skinnier. So let's just rip that a little bit more and then give it a go. I like that right there, so I'm going to leave that alone. Now I'm going to do the same thing with this because I don't want those bold white edges showing when I put this on the card, because that would not blend very well with the white showing through and everything else being so dark. So I'm going to do that. And then I actually laid this down and just sponged on top of it to darken it up. So, and that's okay too that I'm ripping it. I mean, you could even ball it up if you want to get it even grungier. But I just colored the whole thing in because I wanted it grungy. And it turned out very grungy. And you can go as dark or as light as you want with this color. So you can just keep layering that color on there until you get it as dark as you want it. Okay, I'm going to stop because, like I said, I don't want the video to be crazy long. So then I'm going to take the, what we're going to stamp the birds on, and I'm going to grunge around that. We're grunging around everything. Grunging, sponging, whatever you want to call it, guys. And this one I'm trying not to go too up into that because that's where we're going to stamp our image at. Of the bird, so I'm going to lay that over there. And then this piece we will do the sponging around after we stamp. So let's go ahead and let me grab my piercing mat. Okay, now because I just had my fingers all over this, I do want to use my, forget what this thing's called, embossing buddy, to make sure I get my fingerprints off there. Okay, now I'm going to open up my Versamark. I'm going to slide that over just a bit, and I'm going to ink up this bird image. Okay. And then we're just going to stamp our, oops, I kind of dropped it. I hope that didn't touch. I don't think it did, but we'll find out when I emboss it. So I'm just going to press that down and then just pull it up. And then I'm going to open up my embossing powder. Don't touch your image. These little containers I buy at Dollar Tree, and they are just perfect for holding our embossing powders. I love them. That's what I have all of mine stored in. And then I also get the little spoon that I'm using from the Dollar Tree as well, and it's just over where the paper plates and party supplies and things like that are. Okay. I'm just going to leave this right there. I'm not going to emboss it yet because I want to grab my piece of vellum and we're going to stamp the butterfly. And I'm going to open up my Versamark again. I'm just going to do it this way. I think this would be easier. And then I'm just going to stamp that right there at the bottom. And again, use my embossing powder. Just make sure we get that. That way I can emboss everything all at once. Shake that off. And let's turn on the heat tool. It's going to get a little bit loud when I do that, so I apologize now. Sorry about the phone ringing. Okay, sorry about that, guys. I had to answer that. I knew it was going to be my husband, and that's who it was. So let's get back to the embossing. Once the heat tool gets hot, this will go much quicker. So you can kind of see when all of your embossing powder is melted nicely. Make sure if you've never heat embossed that you don't let the heat tool touch your fingers, because it does get very hot and it will burn. As you can kind of see, it's all melting. I'm just gonna turn it. Just make sure you have it all nicely melted. Okay? That wasn't too bad. Move that out of the way. Now, I'm going to turn that over just because I don't like looking at that grunge. Let's turn this upside right. That will bug me too. Okay. So then the next thing I'm going to do is, this one has cooled down a little bit more since we stopped it first. So I'm just going to use the Butterfly Gala Punch and pop out both my butterflies. And then what I did with that, I'm actually going to flip this back over because we're going to ink up both of these images. And I just went just like I did, oops, and that's okay. I mean, it's okay that I'm bending these things because we're going for grunge, people. And just darken that, because you don't want, with this card being like dark, we don't want a lot of light showing through, light colors. Okay, so let's bring this image in. Now I used the light and the dark Pool Party, like I said, and we're just going to color these images in, and you can do it however you like. It has been so long since I did this, I have to really pay attention and look to see what I'm doing. So I just kind of went around inside the image and colored, I just colored all the birds all the same. And I'll go in with the dark here in a minute and do just a little bit of shadowing. You don't even have to do that if you don't want to. I'm not the best, I will admit, at using the Stampin' Blends. I still need a lot of practice. I used to love to color when I was a little girl, and I'm not an artist at all. You guys have heard me say that that's one of the reasons I like Stampin' Up! So much, is because I am not good at artistic things, and this really, the images are already stamped for me. All I have to do is put the colors together, and I just kind of did just like what I'm doing right now. I just kind of followed the outline of the body and just did a little bit of shading, not a lot at all. And you can do however you want, however much you want, however little you want. It is totally up to you guys if you want to duplicate this card on your own. So okay, we'll leave that like that. And then I'm going to take the light crumb cake and just color in the branch. And you can just really I just am going right over top of their feet. I kind of went out a little bit right there, so kind of be careful. It's kind of hard to talk and stay in the lines at the same time and color. And then I just used the dark to just kind of go in and add where the embossing was darker, where the image was. You can just kind of go in and you just really have to just dot to get those to show up, to be honest with you. And then I'm going to use the light Old Olive, and we're going to color in the leaves. And you can go over, it's kind of hard for me to see, guys. I'm kind of far away from where the image is, and there's a little bit of a glare from the embossing powder, so I'm trying to make sure I'm getting only the leaves right now. I don't want to get my head in the way where you guys can't see what I'm doing. So You can use the dark. I'm not going to, because I noticed on the original card that I did that with the emboss, it doesn't really show up that well when you try to do the shading on the leaves. So I'm just going to skip that part. You guys could try that if you wanted to. If you want to try to do this card yourself. So I'm just looking to make sure I have all my leaves, and I think I do. Okay. And so I'll show you on mine what I mean. So like you can kind of see it, but it's not that great. So I'm just going to omit that, and I'm going to use the light Flirty Flamingo to color in the flowers. And I think this color matches the petal pink very, very well. Like I said, the petal pink markers were just too light for what I wanted. So I chose this color instead, and it blends really, really nicely. Okay. Now let me just make sure I have everything colored. I think I do. So now what we can do is, I'm going to go ahead and put this layer down, and I'm just going to use some snail for that. Okay, so we'll just layer this piece right there, and then we'll go ahead and layer the DSP paper on. Okay. I'll just put that right in the center, right like that. Now I'm going to take a little bit of this ribbon, and I'm just going to trim it off. We're not going to need that much of it. I'm actually probably going to cut this one in half and see if I can get both of those to work. And then I just started pulling the threads to get them to come undone. So you can just keep pulling. You got to kind of get it worked out a little bit. And if I remember correctly, I actually used my piercing tool to help. And I don't want to do them. I want to keep a little bit of this back there to hold on to the back of the card. And oops, a piece came out, but that's fine. And then just kind of like spread it apart, and then you can kind of see where you want it to be. So I'm just going to use a little bit of snail. You could use tape to help hold that on there, but I'm just going to put that right like that, and then just kind of leave that. And if you wanted more, you could use more if you want more than that. And then I'm going to do the same thing. I'm actually going to use the piercing. Well, I think maybe we better start it this way with our fingers first. Then once we get those kind of broke apart, it's a little bit easier to just go in with your, and I could hold this down on the table and it would be a lot easier, but I'm trying to hold it up so you guys can see what I'm doing. So I'm just unfolding those, untangling them where they're layered together. Okay, and then I'm going to do the same thing, and then at the opposite end down here, I'm going to put another strip of snail, and then I'm just going to layer that. And that was just because I just felt like it needed a little extra something something. Okay, now I'm going to also take, and at the bottom, I'm just going to run a piece of snail, and then I'm going to grab the lace trim. I'm just going to eyeball it just to make sure that I have enough. And then I'm going to lay that as straight as I can, and then I'm just going to layer this right at the bottom. Whoops, and that's not very straight, so let's start over. Wants to keep turning. Okay, and then while I have it there, because I'm going to be using dimensionals, I'm going to go ahead and place a few dimensionals. I've got my hand in the snail. I'm just going to place a few dimensionals. That's going to help. And you could use tape along that line too to help hold that lace down if you want to. You could put a strip of Tombow there, but I'm just going to do that to help. I'm going to flip this over and then just take my snips and just cut that extra off. Make sure I'm not going to get my little threads we just put on. And just trim that off, okay? We'll throw those out of the way. And then I think we're ready to go ahead and put this piece on. Make sure I don't have to put anything else on the back of there. So I'm just going to do 3 along the bottom again. I'm going to put one there to help hold that one on, and then one there to help that one on. And I think I'm going to put one right there. You could put some in the center too if you wanted to, but it's not necessary. Make sure I have my card going in the right direction. And then we'll just peel all of these backings off. Oops. Okay, and then you're just going to put that kind of towards the top, centered of the card. We have to make sure that we leave room down here because we're going to put our sentiment in the little trinkets. So let's move on to our butterfly. And I was going to tell you to use your bone folder to get your little butterfly wings, but when I grunged it, it kind of folded them for me, so I don't have to do that. So that's a plus for me. I'm going to grab my glue dots and the butterfly, and I'm just going to do one there and probably one down here, and then I'm just going to place that right towards the top like that. And then I've lost, oh, there it goes. Okay, my little one, you can kind of use your bone folder. This one's kind of a little bit trickier just because it's smaller, but this was what I was referring to about using your bone folder on the larger one to get the wings to crease up a little bit. And then this guy, I'm just going to use, oops, I'm just going to use one glue dot because he's so small. I think that's going to be fine. And we're going to put him right there, and then you can go back in. And where this has been embossed, you can take your fingers and kind of, you know, fold those up as well. Okay, let's move this out of the way for right now, and I'm going to bring in my piece of Very Vanilla and Pool Party. And when you stamp it, you want to make sure that you're going to leave enough room because we want to put the little flower right there. So let's ink up We're the Best of Friends, and I'm just going to stamp it right here. Whoops, got a little bit of ink there that I didn't want, but it'll be okay. And then I'm just going to trim this off just a little bit because I'm going to use the tailored tag punch to banner that end. So let's just see. Pop that off. And then let's go ahead and grunge this up. Ink around the edges. I like to call it grunge. And again, you can go as heavy or as light as you want for this. Okay. And then we'll bring our card back in, and I'm going to use a couple of Stampin' Dimensionals on the back. Probably 3. Now on this one, I did tie a little bit of linen thread, and that's what's going to help hold our little trinket right there in place. So let me just flip this back over. Whoops. And I'm going to grab one of the flowers out. And I need the trinket. You could use the key, you could use the bow, you could use whatever you want to out of that. Okay, and on this one, I actually used a mini glue dot. So I'm just going to place that right there on the back like that. Okay, let me take the linen thread. And I have to remember, let me look and see if I can remember how I did it. We'll just wing it, guys. So, I probably should have waited and put this dimensional on at the end, like I said, I made this card a month ago, you guys, and it has been sitting here staring at me, and I have been trying to decide if I was going to be brave enough to show it to you guys. So let me just make sure, I'm trying to make sure I'm not going to cover my words up. So I'm just going to do this. I'm going to slide that down there. I almost did not leave enough, you guys, to make that work. And then I'm going to cut that. Now I'm going to grab a new dimensional, put right on, trying to make sure I get that last one that I wove around there. I want to get both my end pieces, and you could use tape to help secure those, and you could use a mini dimensional. I think that's going to be good. I'm just going to kind of push it right there. Now I'm just going to take and run the linen thread through the little opening there, and I'm going to cut off an excessive amount because I just want to make sure I'm going to have enough to tie my bow and all that kind of stuff at the end. So what I'm going to do is just lift this piece up. I just want to get this through here on any one of those so I can, let me see if we can do this to hold that up. If I can get my nail under there, I think we'll be golden. Okay, there we go. So now what I'm going to do is just tie this in a knot. I don't really even need to tie a bow. You could if you wanted to, but I just really want it to hang right there on the edge. So let me get the other piece. I'm just going to do a double knot like that, and then I'm going to hold both of these end pieces together and just snip them off like that. And you could leave that longer if you want to, just like that. So be careful with that, guys. Make sure that you're leaving a little bit more than what I did. Learn from my mistakes. And then just peel this one off. I'm just going to be careful that I don't pull that off. Sorry the video is long. I tried to not talk and get it done super quick. Okay guys, so there you go. Love me, hate me. I hope I don't get kicked out of the stamping community for this card. But I felt that way about, I can't even remember the one it was. I can't remember the name. It was so many years ago. It was like 2015, I think, when I first signed up. But it was one, I will link the video right here in this so that way you guys can check that video out in case you missed it. So please make sure that you subscribe to my channel and hit the like button. Leave me a comment if you want to. Only nice ones though, please. Be nice. And I'm going to try to do a video on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Friday starting next week. Actually starting today because today is Friday. But if I can't do 3, I'm going to try my best to get 2 out each week. I have kind of faltered on doing YouTube videos so much. I've been busy with my classes and my retreats that I offer and things like that, but I really miss putting the videos out there on YouTube for you guys. So I'm going to get better at that. I've had a little bit of a life change that has happened, so I don't have to work my Stampin' Up! Business after work, my full-time job. I'm able to now do it in the mornings before I go to work, and I am just feeling so much more productive, and I'm getting so much more done. So hopefully this new schedule is going to work out for me. Thanks so much for watching, guys. Bye-bye.